many Christmases you've had in your life. I've certainly had many. But imagine if it was your first ever Christmas. I imagine some of you probably are experiencing your first Christmas. Snow White is about to experience a special Merry Christmas. This story is from the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it's called A Christmas to Remember. It was a cold December morning. Snow White was out feeding the birds and her other forest friends. Inside, Doc gathered the other dwarfs. "Christmas is coming," he said. "What do you say we give Snow White a nifty gift?" The dwarfs thought that was a fine idea, but what should they get her? Sleepy thought perhaps Snow White could use a new quilt for her bed. Sneezy suggested a lace handkerchief. Then Bashful spoke up. "I have an idea," he said, blushing. "Why not give her something from our mines?" "We could make her a crown," Happy said. The next day the dwarfs busied themselves at the mine. Meanwhile, in their little cottage, Snow White got ready for Christmas too. First she made a tray of special cookies shaped like bells and hearts and stars and Christmas trees. Then, while the cookies baked, she went into the forest and cut down a dwarf-sized pine tree. When Snow White returned to the little cottage, it was filled with the smell of warm cinnamon and sugar. The smell was so delicious it made Snow White quite hungry. But instead of nibbling on the freshly baked cookies, she laced them on ribbon and hung them on the little pine tree. Then she draped strings of berries on the branches and decked the cottage with holly and mistletoe. Snow White admired her handiwork. She hoped the dwarfs liked the holiday treats and decorations. When the dwarfs came home and saw the tree, they danced and shouted with delight. "Merry Christmas!" Snow White exclaimed. "I'm so happy you like my surprise." "We have a little surprise for you too," Doc said. He took a small package wrapped in purple paper and tied with a big golden bow out of his cloak and placed it under the tree. "No peeking," he said. On Christmas Eve, Snow White cooked a feast of roast fowl. All night she kept looking at the package beneath the tree. Her stepmother, the evil queen, had never given her anything. This was her very first Christmas present. At last the meal was finished, and the dwarfs had washed all the dishes. Doc handed Snow White the small bundle. When she opened it, Snow White gasped with delight. "Why, this is lovely." "We made it," said Happy proudly. "We hope you like it," said Sneezy. Snow White went to the mirror and put on the crown. "Oh, thank you," she said. "This is wonderful. And it is even more precious because you put your heart into it." "Oh, shucks, it wasn't much," said Bashful. "But it is," Snow White cried. "You've made my first Christmas very memorable." Snow White wore the splendid crown all through the Christmas holiday. Then she wrapped it carefully and tucked it away. She hoped she would have another occasion to wear it soon. Have you got your presents yet? Or do you know where your parents have hidden them? I'll see you tomorrow for another story. Until then, have a good night.